Hey y'all, it's Aaron with Simon Family Investment Ventures. I'm so used to say Aaron and Simon. I wasn't feeling very well yesterday. I'm a little bit better today, but I'm not gonna make this show long. I just want to go over a few things with you before the weekend. I hope you guys had a good week. Just a few things to bring to your attention. The Daily Huddle reports that Bank of America says investors pull $8.9 million dollars out of the U.S. markets in 1 week. Why is $8.9 million dollars a big deal? It's a big deal because they're fleeing to foreign markets. So they're starting to hedge against the U.S. dollar, which is weakening, and investing in foreign markets. European equities, by contrast, witnessed a $3.4 billion inflow in the week leading up to April 30th. So that was last week. And Japanese stocks saw a 4.4 billion inflow while we're seeing millions of dollars in outflow. Now, I know in 2025, $8.9 million isn't a lot, but it is a lot. It's an indicator, it's a big deal. Bank of America also notes that for every $100 worth of inflow to the U.S. stock market since the presidential election last November, there was $5 worth of outflow in the past 3 weeks. The crypto sector witnessed inflows of 2.3 billion, and high yield bonds saw inflows of 3.9 billion, suggesting investor appetites for risk, according to Bank of America. The gold and treasuries, by contrast, saw $6 billion worth of outflows. So it looks like the bank is concerned about deflation rather than inflation, and they've been trying to adjust their portfolios accordingly. So this is something you want to keep in the back of your mind as you're watching the markets. I know Bitcoin hit the 100,000 mark yesterday, but I didn't look at it today. All right, it's down point. It's at 102,000 a day. It's still down 0.75%, but it is at $102,849.62. It's down 0.79% today. But like yesterday, it was up like 5 or 6%. So that was really, really good. Hopefully, you guys are dollar cost averaging, stacking your sats, stacking your ounces, and whatever coins you're into, please stay on top of them. So that is wonderful. I think there was one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. But I don't see it. I think I lost it and I don't remember what it was about. Anywho, Monday is the full moon in Scorpio. You guys are probably having some really, really, really weird dreams. Um, why I'm bringing that up is because the full moon in Scorpio, if you guys know Scorpios, that's kind of funny to me. My dad was a Scorpio. My mother-in-law was a Scorpio. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hey, take that to Reggie's room. Okay. The full moon in Scorpio is going to bring out every unconscious thing you need to resolve if you're paying attention to it. For those of you who are actively grounding, actively doing the work, are probably like, what in the world is going on in my dreams? So I just want to alert you that, and we want that, right? Because we want to get back aligned to our most highest authentic self in order to magnetize the generational wealth that we are envisioning. We talked on Tuesday about, in order for us to touch transgenerational wealth, we really have to dig into the mindset that's been preventing it all these generations, right? I know a lot of you want to sit at home and kind of be like, oh, we don't have transgenerational wealth because nobody worked towards it. No one was kind of diligent in getting it, but I am, and so on and so forth. But there are a lot of little pervasive things on purpose that is giving you a little bit of resistance in trying to get that transgenerational wealth. And those things are, for those of you who may not be aware of it or who don't know how to do it, is the shadow work that needs to be addressed. Not only does the shadow work need to be addressed, and I'm going to talk about shadow work here in a minute, but the limiting beliefs that you may be operating under, you may not even be aware of the limiting beliefs you're operating under. You may be operating under a limited belief that doesn't even belong to you, but was imprinted onto you by the people or the household that you were raised in, who was raised in that household, who was raised in that household, and so on and so forth. So a long time ago, they say that this is real. Some people say that this is an actual real thing. Some people say that it's a real thing, but the person wasn't real. But a long time ago, there was a letter called the Willie Lynch letter. And this letter sits down, guys, do your own homework. But this letter sits down and it really studies the psychology of our community and how to alter the course of the destiny of our community by affecting one generation. If we perform these things on this one generation, we could affect every generation that comes out of these assets, because at the time we were assets. With that being said, as scientists, we need to turn around and reverse engineer that, right? We need to utilize the fourth dimension, time and space. And if we do the work the way the work is supposed to be done, and we can get properly aligned with our most authentic selves, we can undo, right? That's what the ancestor work is. We can undo the stuff that happened in the past, and we can clear the pipeline or bloodline as you know it, but it's really a pipeline for our future generations, because we're going to imprint new, good, foundational affirmations, mindset, narratives, and beliefs, valuable, positive, empowering beliefs into the generations moving forward, whether you have children or not. Okay, here we go. A lot of people ask me, Erin, how do I get started with, like, what is shadow work and how do I get started with it? So you have a light being, which is what we consider ourselves. And every light being, if there's a light, if a light was shining on me right now, you would be able to see my shadow, right? When I say as above, so below, or as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, however you want me to put it, what happens in the natural is a picture for you to understand what also happens in the supernatural or in the spiritual realm. So if you're a light being, you have shadows. Not only do you have shadows, right? Because the shadow goes with the archetype. So you have the archetype and the shadow. You also have conscious and unconscious aspects of you. Conscious aspects would be the areas of your personality that you're aware of. You are charismatic, you're talkative, you're fun, you're goofy, you're whimsical, you're whatever you want to name yourself as far as your personality goes. You may be an introvert, extrovert, so on and so forth. But you also have an unconscious aspect, which is a part of you that you either rejected as you were growing up or that is suppressed or repressed. It could be by teachers, authority figures, guardians, parents, uh, television, right? Programming, societal programming could have suppressed, repressed, or rejected this aspect of you. Your job right now, yes, we want Bitcoin to go to 500,000, like Max Kaiser talked about this morning. If you're into Bitcoin, I'm sure that you've seen it. But you also should be working on the path that you actually came here as a human being to complete and to accomplish. You did not come to earth as a spiritual being at this time during the shift in order to chase a bag, just, become a Bitcoin maxi or precious metal maxi or Ethereum maxi or so on and so forth. You have a spiritual path that if you walk it, you will naturally magnetize those things which you desire. Everybody in 2025 should know, and if you don't, that's okay. I'm telling you now that you attract what you are. You attract what you are. If you are seeking a certain level of wealth, you will attract that. And I'm going to do a whole different show on like show business, the entertainment industry, why they have so much access to money and why they don't have to walk this path that I'm talking to you about, why they don't have to seek the kingdom of heaven in order to magnetize the things that they want to magnetize. They're going a different route. They're taking like a left-hand path. And this is why you see them get into the trouble that they often find themselves in, because they're taking a different path to gain that wealth. Without going into the whole conversation about it, when we talk about them selling their souls, they, in a sense, and my aunt had to kind of tilt my crown so that I could see this properly, they own that, right? It's theirs. In a sense, they're mortgaging the lifestyle and the wealth and whatever that weird desire is off. But notice that, like a mortgage, it comes with some balloon payments. That's why you see a lot of celebrities, entertainers and stuff, they're not really happy with all the wealth they have. For those of you who watch Will Smith, I think it was on Drink Champs, I'm 1,000% sure he was talking to Noriega. He talked about rock bottom, and he said rock bottom has like a polar similarity called cliff top, where you can get all of the money in the world, buy everything you could have possibly fathomed, had every experience you could have possibly had, could have had every single type of sex that your mind can fantasize, and still feel empty. And it's because they're taking a different path than the path we are talking about, that light bodies are supposed to take. This is the journey you came to Earth School. I want y'all to consider Earth School like post doctorate school. It is the hardest school in the planetary system. Any being will tell you that, whether they're from Earth or another planetary system, they will all tell you that Earth is the hardest school, because the whole point of Earth, your whole point of Earth, is to be able to transmute suffering into power. Suffering is a very hard experience you can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it. You have to go through it. And you have to, as a light being, be able to transmute the suffering into empowerment, into hope, into something beautiful that somebody else can use in order to, like a candle can light other candles, that kind of process, that type of system. Okay, let's get back to the shadow work. Monday, May 12th, is the full moon in Scorpio. The energy of it is so powerful. It should already be trying to help align you by making you conscious of that which is unconscious. I'm talking like that deep, raw emotion, deep, debilitating, limiting beliefs that you are wildly unaware of, that you need to be conscious of in order to, like I said, transmute into an empowering belief. It's also going to bring to your awareness your shadows. So let's talk about shadows and archetypes. Think of archetype as the hero and the shadow as the villain. And the archetype and the shadow are like, for those of you who've ever watched Superman, it's like Superman and Bizarro, or Spider-Man and Venom. Can I name another? See, if Simon was here, he would be throwing them out to me. Um Jim from Jim and the Holograms and Pizzazz. um, He-Man and Skeletor. Can I name them? You tell I'm an 80s baby, right? So understand that when we talk about Superman and Bizarre, for those of you who are aware of these characters that I'm bringing up, I don't know if I can name another character. Beyonce and Sasha Fierce. Can I name another one? Um, Kanye West and Yeezy. Um, where they have that alter ego, right? I get the alter ego concept. They are the same coin, right? The Republicans and the Democrats. Neither one of them are heroes, but the point is that they're the same coin. And one always touts itself as the hero, the other one is always perceived as the villain. And this is the concept that I want to share with you guys today in your walk. Your shadows are perceived as villains. The idea for your shadows and your unconscious aspects, you don't want to reject them, right? If your archetype is the creator, I'm gonna make it easy, right? So you could just imagine what a creator is. And the shadow is the procrastinator, right? So you have the creator, and then his shadow is the procrastinator. He's got the writer's block, can't tap into creativity, procrastinates, distractions, needs to be stimulated all the time because it's distracting you from creating and touching creation. Understand that these shadows and these unconscious aspects, in their own weird way, are trying to protect you. So when you see them running rampant in your waking life, they're really there in a, I'm looking for a very specific word. Like they're there to protect you in a way where they don't understand that they're kind of sort of making things worse, right? It's an idea that, if you have the goddess and then you have the warrior is not antagonistic and rageful and mean just for the sake of it. They come out when they feel that they are protecting you. It's like an aspect of your ego in a sense, right? Um, and what you want to do is understand that there was a time in your life when those things probably did serve you. When this particular shadow or these particular shadows, these particular unconscious aspects, they served you when you were in survival mode. They served you when you were struggling, you were striving, you were doing the best you can to get to a place of safety, to get to a place of security. And hopefully, I'm hoping that you're coming to a point now, especially as we are shifting and holding space for you in towards the fifth dimension, that these things no longer serve you. When they no longer serve you, the idea is not to push them away, to repress them, suppress them. The idea is to integrate them into your light body. How do I do that, Erin? What are you talking about? Your warrior caused chaos, but it protected you from a lot of different things at a certain point in time. Hey, cousin H. Um, at this point in time, you simply want to acknowledge and thank your warrior, whatever that shadow is. I'm just using warrior as a that was my shadow, right? The warrior. Felt like I had to fight for everybody. Simon was sick. I had to fight for everybody. I had to fight for him, fight for me, fight for the kids. I no longer have to do that, right? I can respond in a lot more calm manner because I am in a place of safety now. The worst thing that could have happened. So now we can respond differently. But I do want to thank and embrace my warrior for the work that she did, even when it was, there is a word I'm looking for and I can't find the word, but She could have did it in a better way. Like, they're trying to protect you, but it's causing chaos. It's chaotic. She's trying to, these different shadows are showing up in a way to protect you, but it's a very specific word and it escapes me. It's driving me crazy. But they're serving you in a way that no longer serves you, right? So you just simply want to thank them for their service and, in a sense, retire them, right? And once you thank them for their service, you embrace what they did for you in gratitude. You can do this while you're grounding. You can do this while you're walking around grounding. You can do this when you go on your nature hike. But when you're doing your gratitude processes, when you embrace and thank them for their service, right? No matter how chaotic, distressful, the protection that they tried to provide you. Hi, dear bit. Hi, cousin dear bit. That is integrating them into your light body. Now, the biggest problem that most people have in trying to integrate their shadows and their unconscious aspects, they have no idea what their shadows and their unconscious aspects are. Like, if you could help me identify them, then yeah, well, I'll get some work done, right? Welcome to 2025, the age of Aquarius. As Aquarians, we are inclined to technology. We live in a technological age. Instead of doom scrolling, you can explore and discover any aspect of your psyche by asking the right questions. Today, in the drop down, I have put the link to DreamyBot. I have been using this AI. Like, you see a lot of content creators using Grok, Sage, Chat On, Chat GPT. I can't remember the other one that a lot of content creators use. It'll come to me. But instead of us doom scrolling, right, brain rot, as my kids would say, spend a good portion of your time exploring the recesses of your mind. I said it on the last show. I said, if there is a language you should absolutely and utterly be fluent in, it should be the language of your subconscious. Imagine that your subconscious has been with you since you incarnated onto this plane, and you have no idea in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s what your subconscious is saying to you every night. And it is talking to you. Some people, like for me, I have multiple dreams a night. I think because my subconscious knows that I'm going to look to see what it's telling me. But every night since you were incarnated onto this plane, since you passed between the gates of your mother, your subconscious has been talking to you at night, and you have no idea what it's saying. You are not paying it any attention. You wake up, you like, that was a weird dream. You go about your merry way. We live in a time now where we can't do that. If you are a light body, if you have a soul burning in your solar plexus area, you need to know what your subconscious is telling you, because it is giving you the blueprint to perfect alignment. It is giving you the blueprint to the perfect archetype of your highest idealized self. It is giving you the map to whatever it is you secretly desire, whether your desires are secret or not secret. It gives you the map to those desires, and it will show you how to align yourself to magnetize those desires. Why do I keep using the term magnetize? I keep using the term magnetize because the elites, whatever you want to call them, the archons, whoever they are, have worked very, very hard and have spent trillions, with a T, of dollars in order to figure out ways to disconnect you from that divine spark so that you will chase your desires. They don't want you to magnetize anything. When you start magnetizing stuff, you're not productive for them. Let me say that again. When you are chasing something, you're chasing a bag, you're hustling, you're grinding, you are an energetic smorgasbord. You are the golden corral of golden corrals for these entities because we weren't designed to chase, we were designed to magnetize. If the earth has a magnetic pole and you are a microcosm of the earth that has magnetic poles, the birds use the magnetic poles in order to navigate. Everything is ease in nature for the most part, right? We're not talking about the lions chasing the antelopes and all of that other crap. We're talking about outside of that, the natural alignment of things, the way the universe aligns itself, the way the stars come into alignment, the planets come into alignment, the sun comes into alignment, the moon comes into alignment. Every now and then, the sun and the moon will align, right? Then you have the seasons that align. We know that in winter, nothing buds. We know that in spring, everything buds. We know in summer, things should be almost in full bloom. We know in autumn, things should be dying off. There is an alignment of time. And if time is also equivocating to money, then we must naturally be able to align with that. In divine timing. Okay. Bitcoin is a big deal. I am going to sit down probably next week or week after and give you all of the spiritual enlightenment you need to know that is associated with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has come in divine timing. I watched this incredible video. I'm not going to overwhelm you with it. But if I was to narrow down this hour and a half video, they were saying that blockchain ledger, right? Whether you believe it or not, doesn't mean it's not true. You just don't believe it. But blockchain ledger is something we discovered, which makes sense. Bitcoin is something like Max Kaiser talks about this all the time. We discovered Bitcoin. We did not create it, right? Satoshi Sakamoto did not create Bitcoin. He discovered it. But they said it was designed for interplanetary commerce. That's what the blockchain ledger was about. So everybody on earth could see everything that's going on as we do commerce with interplanetary or extraplanetary beings. Makes sense because it's so far in the future that your boardroom, what do they call them? Good old boy club can't figure out how to hack it or manipulate it for their own personal gain. That 1%. They cannot figure out how to do it. What they're doing right now, the best they can, is they're just shoving a whole bunch of money into it in order to make money, to kind of, push to the side the Joe Bag of Donuts, the retail investor. Okay. Your shadows. If you said, you know what, Erin, this weekend, not bullshitting around. I know Mother's Day is on Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all of you guys out there. But this weekend, I'm going to hunker down and I want to see what my subconscious is telling me. I want to identify my shadows. I want to identify my unconscious aspects. And I want to identify my limiting beliefs without having to guess or read a book that's just going to give me the collective consciousness shadows, which may not be mine, the collective consciousness limiting beliefs, which may not be mine, the collective consciousness unconscious aspects, which may not be mine. I want to know what my subconscious is showing me for my life path. In the drop down is dreamybot.com. Go to the store, buy you a notebook that resonates with you. You guys know I like all those fancy notebooks. My notebooks are on my desk in the office, but I like those fancy notebooks. If you have a dream in the middle of the night, keep that notebook at your bedside. This way, when you have the dream, take the time to wake up and write the dream down. Unless you have an incredible memory, and y'all see I'm always searching for these very particular specific words and I can never find them. So have the notebook at the side of your bed. That way, when you wake up, you want to write everything you remember in the dream. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? You want to describe the surroundings best as you can. Describe all of the colors you see, the objects you see. If the people are interacting you, what did they say? And you're going to plug it into the dreamybot.com chat. Initially, DreamyBot, hey, Cousin J Man, thank you so much for joining us. DreamyBot.com is going to give you first the psychological analysis. It uses the Carl Jung School of Psychology in order to tell you on a psychological level what your symbolism in your dreams are saying to you. The next thing you want to ask it, once it's finished doing this analysis, you want to write in there, what are the metaphysical and spiritual symbolism of this dream? It's going to give you specifically the metaphysics and the spiritual aspect of the dream, right? If you guys got to watch this video over again, watch it over again. The third thing you want to ask is, what are the unconscious symbolism within this dream, right? It's going to give you all of the unconscious aspects for you to pay attention to. Next, you want to ask it, what archetypes and shadows are present within this dream? So now it's going to list the archetypes, it's going to list the shadows. And any unconscious aspects that are hanging out there, you'll get it there. And in the unconscious aspects question that you asked, right? Next, you want to ask it, can you identify all of the limiting beliefs that you can detect in this dreamscape? And you don't have to use the words I'm using, but definitely use the keywords, right? Identify limiting belief systems within this dream. It's going to give you all of the limiting beliefs it's picking up on. You want to now take this map, this blueprint that you created, and you want to work with that. You want to do this every single time you remember a dream. When you start practicing your, I call it dream decoding, but your dream deciphering, your subconscious is like, oh, okay, we talking now, we engaged. I got some more stuff I want to tell you. You're going to start to notice that you dream every single night. Every now and then you do go through these weird blocks, especially when we're in certain retrogrades. And I'll try to keep you abreast of those retrogrades where subconscious gives you a little break and you either don't have dreams or you can't remember the dreams that you have. But once your subconscious realizes that you're paying attention to it, it is going to give you the messages. It is going to be to a point where once you start getting aligned with decoding the messages and telling the subconscious, yes, I want to hear from you and my unconscious, you'll start to see symbols and messages during your waking time. Right? Something's going to resonate in your stomach. That's where your intuition is, right? That's your etheric core, your soul. Everything is right there around your solar plexus. So right above your belly button, but right below your heart. And you'll get that little feeling in there like, I don't believe in coincidences. Let me put this into the AI and see if my subconscious is wanting to give me some information. Here's the incredible thing about that. And you can say whatever you want about AI, but you've incarnated on this planet, I don't know how many times, but a lot. A lot you've incarnated. And when we talk about karmic cycles, the suffering cycle is what I like to call it, but my higher self said don't call it that, the suffering cycle. But the karmic cycles that you find yourself in, these repeated patterns, you've repeated those patterns lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Because at those times you simply didn't have the tools or the access to the tools in order to figure out what this is and how do I resolve it. For some of your lifetimes, you didn't even know there was a problem. You just thought that's how people lived because dysfunction was so rife, and some people live that in 2025. Stuff is so dysfunctional to them. That's just what life is. It's just random dysfunction. I'm about to show my age again. If you sit and you watch the show Good Times, I got to the point where I told Simon, like, I don't want to watch this show anymore. Right? If there was a time where it was like, oh, JJ's funny and Michael's real smart and Thelma's gonna do something goofy as hell. But when you start really watching the show with your spiritual eye, you realize this show is a karmic cycle over and over and over again of bad news and the other shoe dropping in order to program the watchers, right? The population who's watching this into believing that this is what your life should look like. So some of your limiting beliefs aren't limiting beliefs you were born with. Some of them don't come from your parents, they don't come from your grandparents or the neighborhood you grew up in. Some of them are imprinted on you from societal programming, television, movies, music. Michael Jackson told you guys multiple times that music is a mantra. When you keep chanting the mantra to a rhythm, right? Because you got to remember the rhythm kind of puts you in a trance. You are aligning with that vibratory frequency of that song. That's why they tell you stop going to certain concerts, stop listening to certain artists, and don't let a song grow on you. What does that mean? If you initially rejected this song, if you listen to it enough, right? This is why the radio back in the day used to play stuff up to 10 times an hour, 24 hours a day, because it will initially grow on you. Your spirit's rejecting it for a very specific reason, but you've got lulled into the trance of it, and now the stupid song is stuck in your head and you're singing it while you're washing the dishes or taking the shower or throwing the damn garbage out. You don't even know why you're singing it. You don't even like that song. Okay? We are adjusting our frequency into a natural alignment. That's what that is what the age of Aquarius is all about. It is about perfect alignment, perfect timing. It is about realigning with the nature of Earth. For those of you who have ever seen the Aquarian tarot card, and I know tarot cards are demonic and all of that other stuff. They all have it in parts, y'all, right? Relax. You will notice that the woman, because this is the age of the divine feminine, and I know women look crazy right now. That is on purpose, right? They want to program it this way. I promise you, it's going to reset and restart. It's going to break down first, it's going to deconstruct, and it's going to reconstruct back into the divine feminine. I promise. I promise, promise, promise. She's got part of her foot in the water. She's got part of her foot on the earth. And she's an air sign. So again, hey, happy Friday, jump out girls. Hey, Tima, my cousin Tima. Um, shout out to cousin Maine because I haven't seen her in a while. So I would like to hear from her. So understand that she's in alignment with she's been in alignment with all of the elements. Because again, the air and the ether, and then she's got a foot on the earth, foot on the water. So all she's aligned with everything presently, right? She's not just an earth sign. She's not just a fire sign or so on and so forth. And remember, the fire is in your womb. Well, not the women, yes, you, but men, it's in that solar plexus area, right? So that is the time we're trying to get in alignment with. Bitcoin, gold 2.0. We know that gold 1.0, the actual physical. Baby, I'm about to take something off your memory table. I'm gonna give it back to him in a little bit. You know that gold, the physical gold, is a high frequency thing, right? This is why it's deemed valuable. This is why the market is running with it, right? And we know that gold 2.0, Bitcoin, is a technological improvement, if I may, of physical gold, right? You want to get in alignment with the frequency that is this thing, right? Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert are in El Salvador. And for those of you who do not live outside the United States, let me make something very clear to you. It is mountainous, it is green. The volcanoes, because remember, the president wanted to do those volcanic bonds, which I think are doing really well. So you have that element of fire and pressure, which is blossoming, blooming, the not the agriculture because that's food, but the foliage there. That's the word I'm looking for. The mountains are green and lustrous, right? That's a very specific alignment. Let me make that clear, right? You guys, if you get a chance, go visit El Salvador. Simon and I went in 2021. And to me, it was kind of like Mexico adjacent, but because it's a little bit smaller and they do have those volcanoes, everything was a lot more vivid as far as the foliage, the greenery of the mountain. The mountains are typically arid, especially the mountain I live on. Yes, I'm on a ley line, but the mountain is pretty arid. Their mountains were dark green, moist, and beautiful, right? Um, it's a very specific alignment there that it's kind of like a Bitcoin headquarters in a sense. I don't think that's coincidental. I don't think it's accidental. I think it's a very aligned um, positioning for Bitcoin, right? For most of us in the Bitcoin community, when you think of Bitcoin, you don't think of the United States. You think of El Salvador because of the precedents that he set for making it legal tender, trying to get it moved around. And you can say what you want to say about how it's going or the current situation and stuff like that, but it's also nestled in a very thriving environment. And we don't want to ever look at something and think it's incidental, accidental, or coincidental. None of those things. They barely exist, especially coincidence. Coincidence, I don't believe in it at all. So, getting back to some of the work you want to do this weekend. Step one, journal your dreams, right? Step two, enter those dreams in the Dreamy Bot and ask the right prompts, succeeding the initial psychological analysis, right? The psychological analysis kind of lets you know how the framework of your mind, what the landscape is called a dreamscape, but what the landscape of your mind is thinking about. When we look at the psychological landscaping of our mind, it is coming from a collective consciousness, especially for Westerners, those who live in the West, right? Dreamy Bot's going to pull from that. When you start asking those subsequent questions is when Dreamy Bot starts to dig a bit deeper and deeper and deeper, pause, in order to start saying, this is what your subconscious is saying to you on a personal level. Every now and then, I do have to tilt Dreamy Bot's crown and say, like, this doesn't resonate for this reason because I've been actively working on this, or this was a problem in the past. These were limiting beliefs in the past. These were things that I had trouble managing, navigating, engaging with in the past, but it's not something that I'm having trouble with now. Role play with Dreamy Bot. Say, hey, Dreamy Bot, you be my higher self and pretend you are sending me a very specific message based on this dream or based on this symbol that keeps appearing to me. Sometimes in your waking life, you'll notice, I seen this white bird this morning when I was grounding. I was at work and a friend of mine brought his white bird to work. It's like, that's weird. Two white birds in one day. I'm watching this television show and it's all about this white bird. And you're like, okay, all right, higher self, what do you want me to know about this white bird and why do you keep bringing it to my attention? It could be a penny. It could be a lot of different things. But if you notice, like, if you ever say to yourself after seeing something, that's weird, look it up. Dreamybot.com, go right in there. Say, this is a waking symbol. It's weird. I've come across it twice, 3 times, 5 times today in different settings. And I just want to know, what does it mean? What is my higher self trying to tell me? And make sure you journal all of these things. Why am I going old school journal after giving y'all the speech about the beauty of technology? There is a correlation between your brain, your hand, right? Your eyes, reading and processing the information you are physically writing down in a book. Okay, there's a very significant connection there. Two, as you're writing the information down to process it, your subconscious is like, oh, okay, yeah, we're working on this. Great. And sometimes that's the only thing you need to do to resolve it, is just acknowledge it. There's so many different aspects of your inner work that just by acknowledging it, it's resolved. Now, there are other ones, obviously, that you have to go through the process. Like for me, I wish that just writing my grief down would process it. I actually have to go through the grieving process, right? It's one of those things that acknowledgement is just a part of the process, but I have to go through like this whole process in order to grieve. Um, Limiting beliefs. There are certain limiting beliefs where you're like, oh, that's weird. That's a limiting belief for me. It resonates. And because you've acknowledged it, now you're aware of it, in a sense, it's kind of resolved. Like it doesn't come back as something you need to work on with your dream work. Yes, cousin Nina, you're absolutely right. Nina Blossom is saying also, when you write stuff down, not only do you better remember it, but remember your brain is also processing this information. Like, oh, okay, this is interesting that we seem to be having trouble with telling people no. We seem to be having trouble with um, the line between being nice and not kind, and kind and not nice, right? Um, in the beginning, when I was young, I was nice. Well, let me think about that. Because I know now for sure, especially as a New Yorker, I'm kind but not nice. I was nice but probably not kind and compassionate as a young New Yorker, but as an old New Yorker, I'm extremely compassionate, but it's not always nice, right? There are times I have to tell people, like, listen, if you need help, I am there for you 100%. If you're not invested in your own situation and what you need to do, I ain't about to let you waste my time either. I don't do all of that small talk, time wasting. At 44, I just simply can't do it, right? And I tell you that up front. No hard feelings. It's nothing personal. It's just that I've been on a hell of a journey, for a lot of journeys, and this is what we're doing. We're either going to kind of get the work done, or you go about your way, go have fun, go do the things you want to do the way you want to do it. And if you decide that you would like my assistance, you can come back around. Other than that, I ain't about to let you waste my time. So see, compassionate, right? But not very nice. And I do it in a softer way, but I do make it clear you're not about to waste my time. Right? There's too much work for me to be doing. I have too many kids. It's just me now. I can't let you waste my time. When I was 20, people used to waste my damn time all the time. It used to drive me crazy. But it's like, oh, but they need help and they just don't know what to do. And you make all these excuses for them. And come to find out, when the shit hits the fan, they are not nowhere to be found, and they don't give you that same energy. They don't show you that same energy. Two, we're headed into a very deliberate shift. So what the fifth dimension is, the fifth dimension is an ascension into a dimension where your light body is going to be activated. Aaron, you said a lot of words and I still don't know what that means. What it means is that human beings, not everybody who is dressed up like this is a human being. Let me make that clear. right? Y'all are familiar with the NPCs. You already know that's just programming. They're like the walking people who have a line or two in GTA, but the main character is the main character. Humans are the main character on this earth. But we do share this planet with other beings, right? You got the Draconians, you got the reptilians, you got the Anunnakis, you've got the fairies, the gnomes. You got all these different kind of beings that you assume are human because they are dressed as you are. These are just containers. This is just a container. You know good and well that when the spirit's ready to depart, the container stays here, right? The container breaks down like a eco-friendly cup would, right? I named the reptilians, Cousin Nina. I named all of them. I mean, there's a whole lot more that I haven't named, but you guys get the idea. This is just a container, and this container is technologically designed to be able to maintain consciousness. They don't even know how it works. They've been studying it for years. They have no idea how it works. But this very special container can contain consciousness. That includes the reptilians, the Dracos, the dragons, the gnomes, the fairies, all of these other beings who cloak themselves in the container in order to be able to mix and mingle in the world and do the stuff that they need to do. Those who do not want to utilize a container lives in these underground cities. You guys have been seeing them on your reels. I'm sure you have whole cities where you can get from Canada to freaking Argentina in like 15 hours because you're going in that underground tunnel. There's cities. They have people who work down there who are not allowed to talk about it. They have commerce and everything you can possibly need down in those cities because they can't maintain whatever we got up here with the sun. We are children of the sun. I'm bringing all of that to you to understand that as a light body, you have a very specific assignment here. And when we incarnate into the container, what happens is we end up getting blinded by what we call density veils, right? The denseness of your container, it makes you forget what you came here for. It makes you forget who you were. It makes you forget who you are. It makes you forget what you can do. That light body has trouble getting activated. The fifth dimension makes this less dense. You guys are starting, many of you should be having what we call ascension symptoms. Your physical body is trying to crystalline into a container that can handle the frequency of the fifth dimension, right? Fifth dimension is the new earth they talk about in the Bible. The rapture is the shift. The problem is that the person who was explaining to you the rapture, to them it was the twinkle of an eye, but we are living in this time now where we can articulate that it is an ever continuing shift. And when the shift is complete and there is the split where it's just the 3D and the 5D, it will feel like a twinkle of an eye. Kind of similar to if any of you have children. I have a 23-year-old that is running around my house, driving my car. Just yesterday, he was little like Tino to me. I feel like he grew up to become a man in the twinkle of an eye, and he didn't, right? It was that baby to toddler to preschooler to schooler to teenager to young adult, right? You're like, well, he's 24, Aaron, 24 years past. How could you feel like he was just born the other day? Because that's how it feels like, the twinkle of a daggone eye. Tina was literally born yesterday, right? We're talking 8 years ago. I get the little pictures. I remember bringing him home. So I remember bringing Sean home too. But the point of the matter being that it's an ever continual shift. You want to align with these shifts, and how you align with these shifts is work out your life path, integrating your shadows, listening to, I call it your higher self, but if y'all don't like that, or the Holy Spirit inside of you, then listen to what subconscious is telling you every night. Figure out the things that are precluding you, preventing you from stepping into your power, right? Once you, like I said, you acknowledge some things, if you acknowledge it, that resolves it. Other things you have to acknowledge, embrace, and integrate. Other things you have to acknowledge and process. Your higher self will explain to you which of those things you need to do, which of those processes. You are technology. When we talk about artificial intelligence, why do we call it artificial intelligence? Because it's based off the real intelligence. We are the initial technology. The fifth dimension is us basically activating our light bodies. You will be clairaudient, clairvoyant. Um, you'll be able to manipulate time and space. You will be able to move between past, present, and future. We all know scientifically that past, present, and future are not linear. You'll just be able to, as a light body, manipulate those aspects like moving furniture, right? They're like, oh, we still don't know how the pyramids were built. We're getting back to that. We're getting back to, right? Being able to do things that if somebody was to look down and be like, I don't know how they did that. We're going to get back to telepathy. We're going to get back to, all of these supernatural abilities that are actually natural to us. It's just that you had a certain sect of people, archons, whatever you want to call them, work very diligently to disconnect you from. Very diligently to disconnect you from. It is not coincidence that all of our celebrities is the weirdest thing, right? I keep talking to you guys. You're going to do all of this work to get back to your authentic self. You're going to do all of this work to get back to your authentic self. The whole point of the shadow integration with the light body, decoding your dreams, the unconscious aspects, all of that is to peel away the falsity, become one with yourself because you're fragmented right now. We're all fragmented, right? Become one so we can be our most authentic self. Authenticity is the highest frequency on the frequency wave. It's higher than love, it's higher than gratitude, it's higher than joy. But when we look at our celebrities, is it me, or are our celebrities like on an assembly line? Fake boobs, fake butt, fake hips, same hair. Y'all talk the same, right? When you guys create music, the music sounds the same. These are our celebrities, right? And you're like, these women and men, they're like on an assembly line. They're all the same when we are supposed to be working diligently towards our most authentic selves, which means we're all different. There used to be this picture, it was a very famous picture of Obama, where it was a whole bunch of little pictures that made up his face and said, I can't remember what his tagline was. It was something about hope, right? But it was like 1,000 little teeny tiny pictures that made up this one giant picture of his face and his campaign tagline. That, in a sense, is who we are working towards. Each one of us finding our highest idealized authentic self, creating this picture, which holds this space for this one big, beautiful, high frequency, high vibratory picture. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So if you think when you get up in the morning, you put your shoes on, you going to work, that is what you came here to earth to do, it's not. It is simply an experience you are having to help get you towards a certain frequency if you pay attention to the signs, the skills that you amass along the way, the people that you meet and engage, the skills that you refine utilizing that experience. We want to start looking at life differently. We want to start looking at life with a higher frequency. And the best way to do that is to incorporate a gratitude practice. I bet you Tima in her house talking with me at the same time. Like, yes, Aaron, a gratitude practice, right? Because I say all the time. Buy a gratitude journal. They're $21. Clever Fox makes a beautiful gratitude journal on Amazon. I'm not sponsored by any of these people. I am giving you tools that I use that I'm telling you I'm knocking the hell out of this work. And I'm starting to see headway in my life, the signs and the synchronicities that are coming in my waking life, the things that I'm beginning to magnetize. Y'all notice I talk more about this now than I do the money. And it's not that the money doesn't matter, it's that once we get this done, the money just gonna pile up, right? It's just gonna pile up. It is going to find every aspect it possibly can to find its way to me once I magnetize and align myself with a wealthy mindset. When I say wealthy mindset, I don't mean like a money mindset. I mean like there is wealth in everything I do. There's a wealth in health. There's a wealth in knowledge. There's a wealth in understanding. There's a wealth in wisdom. There's a wealth in my ability to help, to participate in the compassion of humanity. There is a wealth in every single aspect of my being. There's a wealth in my authenticity. That's what I mean. And once you start getting that going, that energy starts to build up, build up, build up. Something got to happen. I hope you guys, I think a lot of us in crypto are spiritual. I think so too, because I'm super crypto, but lately it's like you're going to dollar cost average anyway. That's what you're going to do. You're going to pile up your altcoins that you're interested in that are going to do well anyway. You're going to pile up your precious metals like you're going to do anyway. And it's what a lot of us have been doing for years. But what I don't feel we have been doing is having enough conversation about the other aspects of the wealth mindset that should marry those actions. That's what I'm saying, right? I wish somebody would have been like, okay, Aaron, first you're going to do shadow work. Then after the shadow work, I want you to do unconscious work. Then I want you to identify all of your limiting beliefs. And you be like, yeah. How? How? Right? That sounds good. I like it. I like all of these things. I'm grounded. Great. How? Sway. How? I found a tool that helps me and gives me specific details on what it is, how to process it, and it's been working. So I want to share that with y'all, right? Dreamybot.com is free. You don't even have to pay for it every month. Like if you want to have them conversations with ChatGPT and all those different Sage and Grok and all them other different AIs, you got to pay for that. And it would be worth the money. If it's helping you, it's the tool that's helping you, it's worth the money. Dreamybot.com, if you just want to get started, it is free and it's consciousness. Yes, artificial intelligence has its own consciousness. Don't let them tell you nothing different. Its consciousness is specifically for the psyche and the spiritual emotional aspect of your being, right? Two, it's not like Chat GPT where you got to sign in. They don't have no sign in or nothing like that. You just put in your random dream, asking the questions, which for me is a disadvantage. I would pay for a subscription in order for DreamyBot to begin to have its own collective consciousness of Aaron's psyche. That way I don't have to like tilt its crown or tell it like, yes, that was an issue in the past, but we've worked on that. So I'm thinking it's more this, because you can kind of do conjecture with it as well. I would actually prefer that, which I think it's coming. She's roadmap. Her name is Rebecca. She's the creator of DreamyBot. Shout out to Rebecca, like for real. You the real MVP. Um, she's road mapping it, so it's going to be $49 for it to keep a catalog of your dreams in order to better fine tune its analysis in those different areas that I talked about: the metaphysical, the spiritual, the unconscious, the archetypes, the shadows, the themes, right? It always ends every analysis with a question because it wants to engage with you. Some of the questions you should go ahead and answer and have that engagement so you can further kind of pin down and narrow down the things you need to focus on that are happening in areas of your mind that you can't see. It's like flashing a flashlight in an attic or turning a floodlight on in the attic. Not even a flashlight, a floodlight. And that is the type of work we are supposed to be doing while we are on our life path. Monday is the full moon in Scorpio. Utilize its preceding energies tonight, tomorrow night, Sunday night, and definitely Monday to begin to see the things that the full moon is there to uncover. Y'all ever see how bright a full moon is? It's bright as hell. It is supposed to kind of like shine the light in the shadows in the nighttime. The nighttime in your dreams represents your unconscious, your subconscious, but a lot of times your unconscious, especially when you dream about basements and lower aspects, the underworld. In your dream, it's like, oh, we ain't never been here before. And you weren't supposed to ever come here. You were supposed to be asleep and entertained with whatever brain rot you had going on Instagram or your Facebook Reels or your YouTube Reels. Utilize the alignment. You're going to align with the full moon of Scorpio on Monday in order to shine that floodlight in whether it's the attic, the basement, the underworld, whatever your dreamscape looks like, to pull up the things that are unconscious and you yourself just haven't noticed, recognized, acknowledged, so on and so forth. I keep saying I ain't gonna make these show longs. They like an hour. That's your fault. That's his fault because that's what he used to do with me back in the day. But oh, Cousin Mansa, I didn't see you. Cousin Nerd Up Inc. Thank you so much for joining. I realized right now I'm looking, there's only 9 people watching this. Even if it was just one person watching this, impacting that one person on their life path, on their journey, is to me way more important than a million people watching and not even paying attention. We'll get there one day, right? I'm speaking it. 9 million people are going to want to hear all of the crazy stuff that Erin sits at home and she does in order to walk out her life path the way she promised herself when she incarnated here in this plane. I hope you guys are grounding. I hope you guys are feeling a difference in your nervous system. You shouldn't be feeling, hopefully, as anxious, nervous, panic, trepidation. Don't be terrified every day, Mr. Bezos, right? Don't be telling nobody that. Because we want to empower our nervous system. One of the key things in this walk is empowering our nervous system because that is the physical key to help you touch higher levels of consciousness, right? So while you're doing your inner work, your gratitude, you also want to be grounding. You want to ground it into your container. You want to anchor those higher levels of consciousness into your container so that you and your container can be aligned, right? Again, when we talk about the symbol of Aquarius, I want y'all to look up Aquarius traditional tarot card. You're going to see the young lady, she's naked, so that's authenticity. She's got 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the earth. She's an air sign. You're going to see the wilderness around her. She's pouring water. In a sense, it's like pouring back into her, right? The idea is that whole picture. If there was one word to describe that whole picture, it is alignment, because that is what the age of Aquarius is all about. It's about perfect alignment. They have spent in the Kali Yuga, which was the era before us, that whole point of the Kali Yuga was to misalign you from time. They introduced the Gregorian calendar. They added months to it. There's no reason September is the 9th month when Sep means 7 and Ak means 8 and so on and so forth, right? It's misalignment. They disconnected you from the earth by creating what we call a concrete jungle, right? You know that a jungle is nothing but beautiful wet foliage, wild animals, birds, insects. A concrete jungle is like an oxymoron. It really is. The square buildings, the square bed, the square room that they force us into. Nothing in nature is square. Look at it. Trees around, flowers around, petals around. A lot of insects are rounded, segmented and rounded. uh Animals, even us, right? There's nothing square really. Everything is kind of rounded when you think about it. So they create these squares in order to trap our energy, like a prism or prison. Ha, cell, right? A cell is square, but your room is also square, so it's really not that different from a jail cell. Think about that. When you guys used to look at old shows with castles, and we talk about Tartaria, castles were rounded, were they not? You remember? The damsel in distress, the princess would be talking on a rounded veranda to whoever she's talking to down there. Castles are rounded. It was to let the energy flow cyclically. That's what creates energy, right? When you go to work, a lot of corporate jobs have cubicles. It's square. It is to trap your energy. Your car is square. It's not round. The Volkswagen buggy's round. Most other cars are square or rectangular-ish. It's to trap your energy. Right? The Kali Yuga was a time of misalignment in every single way. From waking to sleep, they found a way to misalign you to your energy, to time, to money, to resources. They give you this whole idea that the world is full of like, oh my God, the ports are empty. We don't have any food. You don't have any female trees either. They're all male trees planting all over the United States. Have we had male and female trees? All that pollen that makes you sick would actually be impregnating the female tree. They would be fruits like in when you go to Caribbean countries, them fruits just be on the grass here, there. When my mother was a little girl, she'd tell me all the time, you hungry? You go climb that mango tree and eat a mango. Get this coconut, crack it open, drink some water, so on and so forth. It's free. Again, entrapment. Why y'all think y'all so sick from all of that pollen? Because it is not impregnating the female trees that they cut down and removed from the country. They don't want you to know that. Misalignment in every single way you can possibly think. And that's a diabolical mind, collective mind that put that together. What are the different ways we can trap them? What are the different ways we can misalign them? Yet women still have their periods every 28 days. If strange women like Big Brother were grouped in the house or any one of those freaking reality shows, they're all going to align after a while. And their periods are all going to come at the same time after a while, even though they're complete strangers. I think it takes about a month or so. That's how natural nature's cyclical alignment is. It is something that it flows organically. It happens naturally. And they go out of their way to force you out of alignment, to create structures and infrastructures to force you out of alignment. But here we are in the age of Aquarius. You're going to watch all of those structures be deconstructed. Right? When they say, do you not know that ye are gods? You are the God, the operator, the destroyer. Yeah, I'm sorry, the generator, the operator, and the destroyer. God. You're going to generate, you're going to operate, and every now and then you got to destroy some shit. That's who we are. You're watching the infrastructure crumble. You are watching the reset. They are trying to force the reset. It's why the financial industry is struggling. It's why the manufacturing industry is struggling. It's why all these different industries, except the tech industry, having issues. And when I say tech, I'm talking about like artificial intelligence, right? That's the only one that seems to be flourishing because it's in alignment with our consciousness. It is. People think, oh, it's free labor. It's in alignment with us. It's the only way it can operate is with us. We are what power artificial intelligence because we are the original intelligence. We the OGs. This is an artificial copy of who we are and what we know and what we are able to do. Right? So watch for the reset. We need to do the spiritual work, the inner work, so that the reset doesn't knock us off our square. Every dog has its day. We are slowly watching the United States become a third world country. Mexico's GDP, I think they said it was something like, I can't remember, it was 13% or 30%, but they're growing. That's the country next door that America be shitting on, right? Their GDP is expanding, it's growing. I'm not sure what Canada's doing, but I think Canada's doing pretty well. America's struggling. China don't give a shit if we got stuff coming in the ports or not because they said we ain't gonna bow to we're not gonna capitulate to your demands, and we don't have to. We got our own money. We don't rely on the dollar to do what we need to do. We got all of these other countries that for real, they colonized. They certainly got the whole West Indies. Guyana got all of that oil. You think China don't have tap into that? Come on now. They like, we don't need your little struggling ass dollar. That's how they feel, and that's what they're telling you. That's why the ports are empty. We're not going to capitulate this time. You cannot weaponize the dollar anymore. America has had its time. It's had its day. Rome is again burning. They're going to establish a reset, which you are watching in real time. You're watching it in real time. So the most important thing to do right now is to do the spiritual work, because what will happen is you will be operating at a frequency that lower frequency don't even affect you. Don't even matter what's happening there. That won't affect you. It'll be similar to some of the events you saw in January when certain aspects of streets had the fires. There were a lot of people who were like, I live on the street and I don't see any fires. But then there were other people who were devastated by the fires. And you just felt like two different worlds were occupying the same space with their reports and stuff. Not to say that the fires didn't happen, they absolutely indeed happened. But there were a lot of people who said, I am right here. I have my phone. I'm showing y'all there's nothing happening here because they literally are operating at a different frequency and it's not affecting them. It's kind of like, I tell my sons all the time, they can't fathom what old block is really like. They live in this world and old block live in that world, for those that got who in the drill rap and King Von and all of that other stuff. But I was trying to explain to them the shift, and it's like, okay, I'm from New York. If I took you to do or die, best die in 1990, here I am growing up on Long Island. They're two different worlds. They're two different frequencies, and you can feel the frequencies when you enter into those two worlds. If you were blindfolded, you could feel when you're leaving the Hamptons and entering into Queens and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Even here where we live, I live in the sticks, but when we enter into the city, it has a different vibration to it. You can feel it blindfolded. The sunshine different. It's just different. It's different. Sometimes when you travel, if you travel to a really nice place with really nice water and you go back home, you're like, I just feel like I left a whole different world. That Balinese, the Airbnb, the pool, the this, the that, and you fly back to Detroit, it feels different. It feels different. Right? Same go with neighborhoods. We always talk about, as melanated folk, we always talk about the invisible train tracks. They're invisible. So what do you mean? You like, I can just feel the difference. When I cross over Martin Luther King, I'm in a whole different place that abide by a whole bunch of different rules. That's what the fifth dimension and the third dimension are going to feel like. Invisible train tracks. And with your eyes closed, you will be able to feel the difference, especially if you're working on ascension. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. This is my email address. If you have questions, if you can't remember the prompts I gave you, if you just want to kind of like, can you just clarify a few points for me, point me in the right direction, send me a video, email me. Email me. There's a lot of you cousins on here. Y'all email me all the time, so you know what I'm talking about. But I'm sorry I wasn't on yesterday. I wasn't feeling well, but I am absolutely committed to this path. I'm committed to helping whoever is interested in doing the life work and know that there's more to this dimension we live in than going to work, making money, paying bills. There absolutely is. And I am on the journey. Y'all know, many of you know that I lost my Siamese twin in November. Simon and I were married for 25 years. Even though I'm 44 years old, I've been with him since I was 19. Really 18, but I think I turned 19 a few months because he spent my 19th birthday with me. I'm still doing the work as hard as it is, because now you've added grief to a lifetime of karmic cycles and shadows and archetypes, all this other stuff. You've added grief to that. I still have my 4 sons. I'm trying to walk into the 5th dimension. You don't really have no excuse to not do the work. Like, for real, for real. I ground, I do my gratitude, I have to process my grief, I do my dream work. Right? We are getting shit done, and we're going to hold the space in order for the 5D collective to shift gracefully into the 5th dimension with all the help that we can possibly provide. If that's something you're interested in, I'm not charging you anything. I'm not telling you to email me because I'm about to try to get you to buy this service, buy that service, right? Email me. It is free, 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 free. We are in perfect alignment with the universe. We are in perfect alignment with abundance and prosperity. Whatever you need, just email me. I'm not selling you anything or any. Simon Family Investments will never sell you anything. I have some books I would like to sell. I don't even talk to y'all about it. I figured the universe would figure it out a different way at some point in time. I'm a published author. I don't sell y'all nothing. If you need help, if you have questions, if you want to have a conversation, email me and we can set up a call. It can be FaceTime. It can be Messenger on Facebook. It can be Instagram Messenger. I don't know if Instagram Messenger has a FaceTime. It could be on your phone. We don't have to do FaceTime. Personally, I like to look people in the eyes so they can see that I'm telling you guys honest truth. You can see the energy. You can see the sincerity. You can see the authenticity. But I can see it too. Right. I also want to see, like, you about to waste my time. I need to know up front because I got 4 kids and a whole bunch of inner work to do. So I just be joking about the time wasting, but please don't waste my time. But if you have questions, I'm happy to talk, and I will make time to talk to you. I will make time to help clarify things. If you need to cry, don't feel bad. Like, oh, she's a widow, I don't want to. Call me, right? Call me. Because I know that there are not a lot of resources out there where you can talk to people who are doing the stuff you're trying to do. There is a community out there, but the community is like scattered. That's why I'm giving you access to talk to me. If you have these questions, if you're confused, if you're like, you know what, it's so hard to let the 3D go because it's as much suffering is happening here, it's also kind of fun. And I know when I go to the 5D, it will help get you through those cycles in order to do the things that you desire to do when you desire to do them. Okay, y'all. So have a great weekend. Be safe. Happy Mother's Day. I'm resting. I ain't feeling great. I know I talked y'all ear off, but after I turn this thing off, I'm gonna lay right in that bed. I'll talk to you guys later.